Good evening. You're tuned into MB12 Weekend, broadcasting from Cable 12 Studios on Robinson Road. Coming up tonight in news, immigration officers round up hundreds in an operation throughout the capital today. Police seize a major shipment of illegal drugs. Cyberbullying on the rise among Bahamian children, what police are doing about it. Plus, a spokesman for the disabled community opens up about its challenges. I'm Paige McCartney. We've got those stories and more straight ahead on MB12 Weekend. Thanks for joining us. Today marks the first day of implementation of government's new immigration policy, and immigration officers hit the ground early this morning, starting an island-wide sweep of communities around 7:30 this morning that continued well into the afternoon. The media rode along with officers as they stopped randomly into business establishments, stopped and searched vehicles and homes, looking for people living and working illegally in the Bahamas. Men, women, and children were hoarded one by one onto a bus without discrimination. MB12 accompanied officers as they entered a home off East Street where officers suspected an illegal immigrant was being hidden by another Haitian national who had proof of legal status.
Someone, he was cooking though. Someone was cooking, so someone had to be here, Becky. Okay. You was cooking or somebody's cooking? Somebody's cooking. You don't answer fast.
Hey, hold on. No, come back shop all this. What happened?
Up that straight. Up that small, no. He ain't the face.
Say hey.
Shh.
Hey,
Huh. Yeah.
someone behind the door, right? Thank you. Get him. No shirt for this one. Face there again. No cuffs? No cuffs? Let him go.
So you have no idea nothing.
Hey, bro, get him a t-shirt, please. You telling me nobody in here, right? Listen to me. Listen. The minister has already stated you already have paper, right? You have a work permit. Listen to me. You have a work permit. This man ain't got no status. You know what I could do right now? Take your work permit and get that revoked and then you out the country. You have to understand that.
Aye.
You can't be harboring illegals.
Emotions ran high as officers collected young children whose parents were believed to be illegal migrants.
Don't worry, that ain't be for long.
But why you only take one? If they give you one, they have to give you the other two. They are brother children, why you only... You better stop, boy.
Officer in charge of the Immigration Enforcement Unit, Commander Kirkland Neely, said today's operation is one that his department conducts multiple times each week with the goal of detaining more than 200 illegal migrants for repatriation.
We did a basic sweep of all nationals, the roads, businesses and stuff. And so far we were able to get different nationalities like Haitian, Jamaican, Filipino, and Chinese. We have all of them in custody as we speak.
Officers rounded up close to 300 people. In some instances, family members of a few detained people caught up with the caravan to show proof of legal status.
What we set out to say that is we don't discriminate. Everybody in the country, either you legal, living in the Bahamas, or you illegal. Colors, nationality don't mean, so I don't want people get into the thinking that we're only looking for Haitians. No. Everybody knew it was coming, right? But I didn't know which area was going to start in, okay? And so to let people know which area we coming in, then we'll be defeating the papers. Okay, so we just get together. My officers know which area we're going in about a couple of minutes before we move on. Okay, I normally keep it to myself.
A few residents of one of the communities where immigration officers conducted the walkthrough said they were happy to see action being taken.
I should hope so. The government took too long.
I feel it's long overdue, man. The health country overrun. If we don't control the problem now, future for us, our children. It got to be done. Any country who don't deal with immigration law policies, they'll have a problem. Read the Bible, tell you so.
The immigrants were all taken to the Carmichael Road Detention Center where more relatives gathered to see their loved ones. Joseph Louisant followed the officers' caravan to the center.
Okay, and you think people won't fly by Hamas? I don't know what they do. That's it.
Everybody don't have no place to live. Okay, you born there, you're Haitian, Bahamian, Jamaica, all of us is the same thing. Any our language change. Ain't no different. All us going into us. Ain't nobody can say, not no, just you get country. Nobody get no country. The small children they catch it, how they can expect to go in Haiti.
And Neely had this message for those illegal migrants who may have escaped detection today.
You might get away from us today, but we guarantee that we will get you within that month, right? We would make you believe that you escape us.
Prime Minister Perry Christie has said that the new immigration policy will be carried out as humanely as possible. In other news, 4 men are in police custody tonight and are being questioned in connection with a major drug bust that occurred in western New Providence this morning. More than 600 pounds of suspected marijuana were confiscated. Commander of the Drug Enforcement Unit, Chief Superintendent Samuel Butler, says the estimated street value of the drugs is $600,000. Butler says police made the arrests in the Coral Harbor area after a 5-hour surveillance operation.
We observed a suspicious vessel on a group of men offloading a number of suspected bags.
Butler says 3 men were arrested while offloading the boat and a 4th man was arrested while sitting in a van filled with drugs a short distance away.
We continued our investigation that took us further in the western area of New Providence, where we were able to recover a number of suspected bags that was concealed in a Mazda van.
Today's seizure is one of dozens the DEU made this year. More than $23 million worth of marijuana and cocaine have been seized across the country this year. Up to the end of July, 10,000 pounds of marijuana and 900 pounds of cocaine were confiscated. One of the largest busts occurred in late July after 3 Bahamian men were arrested in the early morning hours on a vessel a few miles off the coast of New Providence. That bust netted $2 million worth of marijuana. Butler says his department continues to see major success thanks to their partnerships and evolving strategies. He added that the suspects are expected to be arraigned early next week.
Yeah, our intelligence suggests that this is an organized group of persons who are part of a trafficking ring, and we will continue our investigation, and we hope to seek out others who are part of this mission.
And in more news from police, 2 men were sent to hospital following 2 separate shooting incidents this morning. Police reported that the first incident occurred shortly before 2 as a man was walking on Minnie Street. Police say the victim was approached by a man armed with a handgun who shot him in the head and fled on foot. The victim was taken to hospital where police say he's listed in serious condition. And then 2 hours later, police say they received reports of a drive-by shooting. According to police, the male victim was walking on Bacardi Road at 4 a.m. when the passengers of a passing vehicle opened fire on him. Police reported that the victim was shot in the leg. EMS transported him to the hospital where his condition is listed as stable. And police also made several arrests on Halloween night, including the arrest of several men who were found with illegal firearms. One of those arrests was made in Little Blair Estates. Police said they arrested a 28 and 24-year-old man just before 7 p.m. The men were arrested for possession of an illegal handgun and ammunition. Anyone with information on the cases are asked to contact police at 911-919 or 502-9991. Now, in recent years, high-profile cases of cyberbullying have grabbed international headlines, and police say cases of cyberbullying are becoming more frequent among Bahamian teens. Cyberbullying cases amongst Other things are investigated at the Central Detective Unit by a specialized unit set up last year. The man who heads that unit, Inspector Mark Barrett, says police are particularly concerned about this form of cybercrime.
That is now epidemic within our society.
He adds that high school scandals and middle school dramas are taking on a whole new meaning with modern day technology. Barrett says kids today are choosing not to use a pen to share their mean messages. It's a trend that Barrett says police plan to clamp down on.
In particular, young people, young school-age children, for whatever reason, they are posting deformative information about others online, with the intent to bring disrepute to those individuals' character.
Meantime, Barrett says taking on a complicated issue such as cyberbullying requires a collaborative effort.
In most cases, these people are affected psychologically and emotionally, and we want individuals out there to know that it is an offense. If they are found doing it, they will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
And cyberbullying cases can be reported to the unit at the Central Detective Unit by calling 502-9991. And although new legislation is passed seeking to give more rights to the disabled, the everyday struggles continue ahead of the implementation of those policies. Tonight we hear about the extreme struggles faced by the disabled community with the public transportation system. Our Jasmine Brown has more.
For hundreds of people living with disabilities in the Bahamas, using the public transportation system is a nearly impossible option, with many vehicles not being outfitted with the proper facilities.
Riding the bus is difficult enough if you're able-bodied, but for the disabled community limited by mobility issues or utilizing wheelchairs, a bus ride can become a nightmare. It's a bad dream that many in the disabled community try to avoid. President of the Bahamas National Disabilities Council, Townsley Roberts, says many disabled people do not even attempt to use public transportation.
You have persons, say, with a wheelchair, persons who use canes, walkers. It is difficult to get in a bus. I sometimes catch a bus when my vehicle is down.
A major issue, says Roberts, is the fact that the public buses are not equipped to take on disabled passengers.
I suspect they're going to have to bring in some new vehicles because the jitneys we have now are not accessible, and I don't see no way they can become accessible. The bus is not designed for persons with disability. The hallways are narrow. If you have to sit in the jump seats in the middle, there's an issue. Being able to move up and down for persons to pass is an issue. So there is definitely a challenge with the busing system, and we know there's a challenge, so it has to be addressed.
Roberts says it's a major challenge that has to be addressed sooner rather than later, as the disabled should have the same rights and opportunities as everyone else. The Disabilities Bill was passed in July. The bill seeks to eliminate discrimination against disabled people in other areas, including housing, access to public buildings, public transportation, and education. Meantime, founder of the Public Transit Association of the Bahamas, Ruben Ramming, admits that the public bus system is not disabled friendly.
So yes, there is a true problem.
He adds that the issue is not just the physical structure of the buses, but also the sensitivity of drivers.
The biggest problem, though, despite equipment, is our own personal disposition. We seem to think that the issue of disability or physical impairment is far removed from us. We fail to acknowledge that all of us is just an incident away from being physically impaired. And all of us throughout our lifetime will be physically impaired at many intervals. Creating an environment for persons who are physically impaired, whether temporarily or permanently, is not a charity move. It's a selfish self-help move. And governments, leaders, all of us like parents should always build an environment that when we look at others, we could say, it is good enough for me, so it's good enough for you.
Ramming says replacing or augmenting fleets of buses to be more disabled friendly is a costly venture. He suggested the government offer incentives for drivers. Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Brown.